Well, hi there, Saints. We're playing Saints Row 3 again, just to have a bit of a chilled-out vibe video, you know what we're on about. So I've got two things I want to talk about today, some pretty cool stuff, and then also my opinions on something, so, you know, that won't upset anyone at all. Um, anyway, so I officially made a really dumb story called Saints Row 2.5. It makes no sense and probably has a bunch of holes in the plot. But I basically made it to kind of like patch up some holes between 2 and 3, and it's kind of like a mini story that could have happened in between. It's purely like just fanfic, not like that, don't worry. But it's purely just like fan-made content that like makes no sense. I'm sure it wouldn't fit into the story if it did happen, but it's something I got bored and made. There's a community post on my channel where you can find this. I got really bored. It's only like 1,000 words, don't worry. It won't take up your entire day. It's like 3 pictures, literally. But yeah, it talks about why the boss never mentions Troy or Dex again, how the boss went from ruthless killer to being the casual celebrity he is, you know, stuff like that. It kind of just patches up the holes that we kind of needed a bit more context for in between 2 and 3. It gives you a bit of closure on Dex, and I mean, while it's not what officially happened, it's what I'm kind of choosing to believe actually happened, because to me, it's the best possible ending for Dex. It explains why Troy is no longer in the picture, and it also explains the crossover between 2 and 3. So if you're really bored and you're a hardcore Saints Row 2 and 3 fan, and you always hated the fact that there was so much left out from those games, that might be something worth reading. You don't obviously have to take it as real story. It might just be a bit of a fun read. Obviously I'm not a writer, but I got bored. Literally, that was it. I was bored. I was like, you know what, let's make a cool thing. You know, as a fan, as a big fan of Saints Row, I just wanted to make a really cool thing that I thought you guys would like. And it's there. So if you want to read it, feel free. Anyway, so Jim Boone gave us a bit of an update as to why the delay really happened. And a bit more about it. I wanted to talk about it because I'm yet to really speak on it. I spoke on what I wanted from the delay, but I never spoke about how I feel about the delay actually happening. And, you know, I mean, obviously I was upset, but I think his reasoning is fair enough. COVID probably did have a huge impact. That's something he brought up. He was like, COVID had a big impact and it was something we couldn't see. Now, while I accept that, they still arranged the date to come out in February. COVID has been here for a couple of years now, and while I understand it's impacted them a lot, surely you'd have chose a different date by now. You could have told that the game wasn't ready if you needed another 6 months with COVID. But at the same time, I do understand that COVID must have been a huge inconvenience for them, and it must be pretty tricky. So, I get it. COVID's not ideal, and it must have put a lot of stress on them. But for them to use, like, COVID, it feels like almost, I hate to say it, but it feels like a bit of a cop-out. Like, the way they're like, oh, COVID had a big, like, impact us, I'm really sure it did, and I 100% understand and sympathise with them. But it also started in like, March of 2020. It really took you nearly, like, 2 years to figure out that a game wasn't ready to be released in December. Like, you were releasing it 2 years after COVID, essentially. February 2022 is 2 years after, like, March 2020. That surely they could have told, is what I'm saying, and I think it's a bit weird for them to bring up COVID now, if that makes sense. But while I do think it's a little odd to bring it up, I'm sure it did have some delays, and I don't know how early set dates are, okay? I don't know when they made that original deadline. So I could be wrong, and someone can, for sure, you know, tell me that I'm wrong and explain to me how I'm wrong there. But to me, it does just seem like they should have knew that the game wouldn't have been out in, like, February 2022 by now. You know what I mean? It took them, what, nearly 2 years of COVID and a bit to figure out that COVID would impact them a lot. I don't know. To me, it seemed a little odd, but I'm not sure how early these dates are set, and I could be completely wrong. But, yeah, I don't know how to feel about the whole COVID thing. It was a bit like, to me, I was listening to it, and I was like, okay, it makes sense, okay, COVID's a huge thing. But at the same time, you can't tell me that you still expected to release on the same date, and then needed 6 months out of nowhere and pretend that you didn't know COVID was going to impact it. Like, surely they must have knew that I partially think it's due to the GTA trilogy. I definitely think it's due to the GTA trilogy, at least somewhat. I also think the amount of games coming out in February adds to that. But I also think that what he said himself, the fact that the game just doesn't meet Saints Row standards, could be true. I could be overthinking this and overanalyzing this. And it could just be as simple as they were getting closer to the deadline and they thought, oh shit, this really isn't where we want it to be. Like, we need a bit more time. COVID kind of slowed us and they didn't notice until it was too late, and that would make more sense, and that helps me kind of understand the COVID thing. But I do get that COVID probably had an impact on them, and I suppose it did impact them throughout the year over and over again. So yeah, I suppose, you know what, actually COVID probably does make a little bit of sense, but to me, I still think they probably could have told it wasn't going to come out in February a little earlier, and they probably didn't even have to announce it at this point. Um, but I do think this is purely down to them just wanting to make a great game. I don't think that there's many external reasons for why they would delay the game. Sure, there's games coming out in February, but let's be honest, those games coming out in February are not going to impact the Saints Row fanbase, are they? I mean, sure, a small amount of sales might go away from Saints Row, but those games don't seem to be like they're in direct competition with Saints Row. That would be like Call of Duty delaying their game because Elder Scrolls 6 is coming out. It makes no sense because they're such different styles of games. They're obviously not going to draw away from one another, you know what I mean? Both games could have done well in their own aspects. So, to me, I don't feel the date was really because of the games coming out, although I definitely think there is a small aspect of that there. I do think, and I believe Volition, and I mean, I may just sound like a Volition fanboy here, but I do believe that the sole reason for them delaying this game is because they want to make a good game. I think they've saw the backlash that this new Saints Row has got, and I think they've gone, we can't afford any fuck-ups here. I would rather upset the fan base now and make a great game when it comes out, because if they released it in a state that's not fantastic, the hate is already so there that it would kill the game. The delay won't kill the game, but the hate will. If they release the game and it's not at the state everyone wants, the game would just be bad, and no one would play it. I think Volition saw the response to Saints Row and just decided that a delay is probably the right move. A delay might just be the ultimate move here, and would kind of draw away from the negative attention that Saints Row has been getting, and I agree. So I do feel good about the delay, to be honest. There's a few channels out there, by the way. I'm going to go on a bit of a side rant here. There's a few channels out there, and I've got to say, they are putting out some shit content. And I'm sorry, I know that sounds really mean, because, like, you know, my content's not exactly fine wine. But, they just put out so much shit about how Volition is woke, and all this shit. I keep seeing it everywhere, and it's mind-blowing to me. Like, I heard a guy, and I know some of you will know who he is. His name starts with J, as in the letter J. So, if you know who I'm on about, you'll know who I'm on about. He's there, and literally every time Volition opens their mouth, bro, this man somehow finds a way to make a 23-minute video on it. I'm telling you, it's so funny. It'll be like, oh, guys, we're delaying the game because we want the players to have the best game possible. We just really want to take our time with it and make the most incredible piece of art. And this man gets a 23-minute video out of it. He's eating good, bro. It's so bad. And bro, his comment section as well, and I mean no disrespect here, okay, I'm just saying, his comment section is just so toxic towards Volition and Deep Still. Oh, it's tragic, and it's like he's a Saints Row channel for Saints Row haters, if that makes sense. And I mean no disrespect, if you know who you are, your content's just not for me. But yeah, I find it pretty funny that the same people that are shitting on the game every step of the way are the same people that will make videos about it anytime they open their mouth. It's almost like it's cool to hate on the game so they can get views, but don't say you heard that from me, guys. Anyway, I'm just messing around, okay? Anyway, I love you all. I hope you enjoyed the video. I had some fun playing Saints Row 3 today. I've been kind of just vibing on Saints Row 3 recently. I'm I'm number one out of all my friends on time played on Saints Row 3, like the remaster and the original. So, that's sad. Bye.